Alrighty, so I was able to beat the deer this week, actually the first try, and I used Ellate because I actually got two different people commenting saying that Ellate actually was a good option for the deer, and so I wanted to try it out because Ellate is a very interesting option. She has two, single target attack cards. Her debuff card is pretty lackluster, which you would kind of expect, which then again, she's not doing like big, huge damage or anything like that by any means, but the fact that she has two attack cards is really nice. But you're really using her for her ultimate, which is like increases defense related stats by X amount, and I think that it would have been perfect if I had her completely maxed out 6/6, but I actually only have my red Ellate at 4/6, so it maybe didn't work perfectly the way it was supposed to, and I maybe have gotten a little bit lucky on this. I did just first try, I ended up getting the better passive. I didn't have to worry too much about just getting bad RNG as far as the passives goes, but normally what you want to what you end up worrying about, I guess, in this last floor is on phase 3. He does a move that deletes cards, so it can be really annoying sometimes because it will end up getting rid of, maybe it could delete your ult, it could delete cards out of your hand and just like remove your ult because it lowers ultimate gauge when it does, and then if you go into the last phase with everything you need, you can't use Escanor's ultimate first thing because you have to do an entire round of the color wheel, so that way you can make sure you break the shield that he has up, because you're only going to be able to do 1 damage per card at that point, so you have to do a full turn, and then if you get good RNG, he doesn't do the AoE ultimate removal card, but if you get bad RNG, he's going to remove your ultimate, and then you're going to have to worry about trying to use the next turn to get Escanor's ultimate back, depending on how much ultimate he removes from you, and then you also have to make sure that you're not going to do too much damage, or else he'll end up reviving himself to full, and like he buffs his stats, which is just like a death sentence basically. So there's a lot of factors at play, and the whole idea is to get Elate's ultimate, buff up all of your attack or defense related stats, and it even makes you debuff immune. And it's supposed to help you like patience those moves, and unfortunately I think because mine is at 4/6, I'm just not quite there, or maybe I just needed to prioritize a little bit more on making sure the Jormungandr passive stacks were as high as I could get them on characters before I used the ultimate, but I did patience some moves, which was very impressive. But I think when I needed it the most, I still ended up getting sort of like ult removaled, which we'll see here in a minute, but I ended up getting good enough RNG to where I didn't really have to worry about it, because I was able to get what I needed back quickly enough to where it wasn't like a completely failed run. So honestly, I've been playing with the character quite a bit more as far as Jormungandr goes, and I do really like the character. The healing on the character is really, really good. The ultimate is kind of nice. Like, it ends up doing a good amount of damage, plus it buffs your damage a little bit here and there. The only problem with running Ellate though in this scenario is he does have a move that removes buffs sometimes, and I'm pretty sure he ends up removing my Brunhild buffs after I use this ult, which is kind of annoying because that defeated the whole purpose of it. But Escanor was the one that I was trying to make sure that I kept ultimate on, so I guess it's not the worst. Plus, I mean, her ultimate lasts for 4 turns, which is so long, so it's actually so good. Like, it's actually nuts. Like, she's actually a really good PvE character. Like, I know a lot of people use her for different kinds of guild bosses and stuff like that, and a friend of mine uses her for all sorts of different stuff. Like, he uses her for the bird teams, and like, not always, but he'll throw her on the bird team and work, make it work, or use her on the deer team, or whatever the case may be. Like, he puts her in like a ton of different stuff, and she always ends up doing pretty well. So that's honestly really cool that she's like pretty versatile, and you wouldn't really expect her to be. Like, she's a character that came out, and I feel like a lot of people were just kind of like, oh, like, whatever, like, I'm not really gonna like invest too much into this character. And there's a couple of extra outfits that I would actually like to get for her, like cosmetic pieces, not just outfits, but it's just one of those characters that I don't use her enough to where I want to actually invest that, but yeah, I don't know. So her ultimate actually was pretty cool. So you can see, I think it's coming up right here in just a second. Let's see. So he still ends up getting a decent amount of damage off there. Removes some of her cards, which was kind of annoying. Luckily, I was able to remove his buffs and make sure to push phase here. So I used the Jormungandr card into the Brunhild card. I think kills. I think I maybe at this point should have tried to use like that card and then maybe the level 2 Ellate card there, because I don't think it would have killed. It just doesn't really do a whole lot of damage. And then the Brunhild card to maybe add an extra stack of Jormungandr's passive. But you can see here, I have 1 turn left of Elate's ult. I complete the color wheel here, so that way I get rid of the defense like buff thing that he has on, like the shield, so that way I can actually start dealing damage. But at this point you want to make sure that you get him low enough to where the Escanor ult will kill, but you don't want to get him too low or else he will proc his passive and revive, and it becomes very bad after that. I think I ended up using the little like it's probably considered to be an exploit, but it's just like a gimmick that you can use where you just close the game out and reopen it. So you can see here I still ended up getting my ultimate removed twice, but luckily I had 2 of these Escanor cards in hand, so I could literally just merge those and make sure that I was getting, you know, extra damage off, and I get my ultimate back. Which, you know, the problem with the deer here is that he has 2 different attack cards, and you can't tell which one he's using because they look the same in his hand. You can't actually see which card he's going to use, and it can either be just like a single target attack card that's whatever, like it just deals damage. I think it might actually have an effect on it, but I can't remember what it is, or the other one is the AoE ultimate removal, which is not what you want. So yeah, you have to be very careful here. But I was able to get right here, which is exactly where I needed to be. Unfortunately, I ended up underestimating how much damage. Underestimated how much damage Brunhild was going to do. So I ended up using that card, which was going to end up putting a corrosion stack on me, but it was whatever. I was going to beat it anyway. And then the Brunhild card ends up doing too much damage, as you can see right here. So I end up doing that, and then I was like, oh no, yeah, this is going to do a lot. And then I get below 20%, he heals, I alt F4 out, and then I just open the game back up, and it puts me right back on the same one. So at that point I was like, okay, those 2 cards should hopefully be enough. And then I use an extra Jormungandr card because she really doesn't do a whole lot of damage, plus that's her buff removal card, and it's kind of mad. Like even that level 2 did like 18k, so use this right here. It doesn't really do a whole lot, but because Escanor's ult hits twice, luckily it deals enough damage to kill. So that was, I mean, aside from having to like reset that 1 turn, that was literally like first try for the week, no problems. I didn't have to reset for any sort of, you know, weird passives or anything, and honestly it worked out pretty good. Like I kind of wish that I had those 2 extra ult levels on Ellate at this point, because they would hopefully help me patience the moves that actually matter. So I really can't complain. It was a little bit of luck for sure that ended up helping me make sure that I won, but not a bad option. If you have her 6/6, you can add, like, if you have her 6/6 and you've used her on the deer, let me know if you patience those moves, because I don't think it has anything to do with her actual, like, her stats. It just buffs everybody's stats, like everybody's like defense related stats by X amount or whatever. Like I don't think she needs to have more cosmetics or whatever for it to boost more or anything like that, as far as I know. But yeah, honestly, not too bad. I'm actually kind of impressed that I was able to do it with her first try, so kind of cool. But either way, that's pretty much it. I don't have anything else to talk about. Thanks for the people who recommended it to me, because honestly it was kind of cool to beat it with the, you know, kind of a weird character. But yeah, that's it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to subscribe if you have not already, and I'll see you in the next one.